Can we shot now?
So, that just happened.
It did. What was that?
Princess Bluebell kissing Buttercup in the mouth, which is what most people will take away from this episode, much like the "no me gusta" moment from an otherwise good episode. That one time.
Oh god. I just saw that one, was like, whoa, wow.
Although I had to give props for Buttercup for immediately not going for the obvious joke and instead for going of the "oh no, I'm going to turn into a zombie," which is simultaneously a non sequitur, but also something that saves that scene from becoming way too awkward. So, for once, Buttercup does not ruin the entire episode.
Yes, that's very good. I did think she was coming off as very more dumb in the beginning. But I think that was just working the benefit of the episode.
So let's talk about this episode, because this episode actually, I think it was, surprisingly, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Even more surprising, I'd say this episode decides to tackle a delicate topic, much like it tried to with the episode that shall not be named.
Yeah, I don't even remember that episode anymore.
Horn
It's just like,
Suitor.
whoosh. I didn't want to remember it, you dope. That's the
Yeah.
reason I forgot about it.
Yes, I ruined the joke. So, but unlike that episode that we just named, I think this episode somehow not only manages to do justice to the topic it chose to tackle, which for this show it's a first, but I dare say it does it in a much better way than when the original show decided to tackle feminism, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Remember that episode, the classic show in which there is the female bank robber that claims to be a super feminist, but she is really the negative stereotype that's usually associated with modern feminism? And we have all those characters basically coming to your face, looking at the screen, and tell you, say, that's not real feminism. This is real feminism, and we're going to explain it to you.
Yeah.
It was a product of its time.
Definitely.
I don't really fault it, but I dare say that this episode of the new inferior version of PPG actually manages to do it in a much more compelling way, in my opinion.
I totally agree on that. It takes a topic of like where a huge thing right now is feminism and all that, and just kind of phrase it in a way it's like it's completely okay to act like super girly or super butch and punching people. It like both ways that a girl can act is completely fine.
Yes, basically the moral is just be yourself, just be who you want to be, which ironically, again, it's the same message that other episode was trying to get across, but it failed so miserably, to the point that you just wonder how and why this episode is happening in the same series.
Yeah.
Apparently, these writers are capable of choosing a topic and tackle it at a professional and fun level. So yes.
Yeah, I feel the writers do actually know what they're doing. I feel they had a bunch of stumbling on like the earlier episodes, as you do with some of these newer series. But they do have like solid ideas and all that.
Well,
Every once in a while.
yeah, like every 10 episodes or so, but we get something like Once Upon Townsville. So let's talk about this episode, because I dare say the main reason why this episode is worth watching is the character of Princess Bluebell, which steals the show.
Yeah.
Everything she does is comedy gold.
Yeah. You know, when the episode first started off with Princess Bluebell and her little kingdom and falling down the well, I thought that would sort of be like a parody of Disney's Enchanted and all that. It was
Enchanted,
kind of like
yes.
that, yeah.
Well,
She's got the same blue dress and all that, falls down a well.
well, it is making fun of the classic tropes associated with fairy tale princesses, which Disney made the foundation of its empire back in the golden age of Hollywood. And even
Yeah.
Disney itself is rejecting vehemently nowadays.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's just such an oversaturated sort of market now that you have to bring in like these parody sort of things. Basically, put some humor into it.
Or maybe, making a story about animals serving as an allegory for social and political persecution and racism. I watched this episode twice in preparation for this podcast, so I noticed a fair few details that really made me enjoy it even more than before.
Yeah.
So basically, it begins with the classic, the checklist of fairy tale stories tropes. The live action book that opens up revealing a fantastical, whimsical world with woodland creatures. And there is the princess who gets harassed by the dragon. And trying to get away from the dragon, she loses the crystal shoe, obviously.
Yeah.
And she fell down the well to Townsville because enchanted.
Yep. Just Enchanted. It just reminded me exactly of Enchanted like that.
Oh, please save me, prince! I like the fact that this whole idea of the prince coming to save her is actually a clever misdirection at first, because you soon realize that there isn't actually a real prince coming, except there is, but more on that later.
Yeah.
There isn't exactly a real prince coming, and it is more the product of her own, delusional mind, because apparently this princess has been raised to believe a certain way of life, in the sense that, you're a princess, that means a prince has to come and save you and you have to marry him, because is what the cliche, the tropes and archetypes of female characters dictate, and this is the episode that's going to make fun of them. But,
exactly.
but not entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, not entirely. It kind of flips it on its head, and
I love
basically
it.
going step by step. We then have Princess Bluebell going down the well and landing in the arms of the Powerpuff Girls.
Literally in the arms of Buttercup, which were having a conversation about clouds.
Yeah, yeah. These little girls talking about clouds. They have
Okay.
really very exciting lives as superheroes.
I would like to say that Bluebell is simultaneously a blessing and a curse for this show. A blessing because she is great, her interactions with the girls are fantastic, she steals the show. And that's the problem. She steals the show, but she's not the main character, while the actual main characters on their own, they are so unfunny.
Yeah, really. I would say that the worst out of the three girls is Bubbles. She's given like nothing to really say other than like, I want to be a princess. Let me put on this little top hat, get a cane, and let me sing our episode out.
To be honest, I cannot stand Buttercup.
Yeah, I can't stand Bubbles. I thought Buttercup was actually like she has a more drier sense of humor, which is more in tune with mine. Bubbles is just
I find her sense of humor pretty much her only characteristic at this point, which, once I noticed it, it annoyed me greatly. Buttercup is unable to take anything seriously. So why should I, be invested in whatever she does? She's a superhero.
Yeah.
If she just doesn't care.
Yeah, that's sort of the problem with each of the girls. They only have like one set way of reacting to things. Like Bubbles reacts with things with bubble-headed obliviousness. Blossom is just the stick up her ass leader. Like, no, you can't do that, girls. And Buttercup, like you said, I don't take things seriously. I'm just dumb. I don't want to understand.
So thank God we have Princess Bluebell, at least for this episode, because she's really, she's a breath of fresh air, really.
Yeah.
Now, with that said, I'm having a bit of a trouble understanding exactly when is this episode taking place, because, when she falls down the well, you think, hey, she comes to the future, basically. And yet she is not phased in the slightest. In fact, she doesn't miss a beat. She just goes,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna go find the prince. Doopy-doopy-doo.
Yeah.
And also, a prince does eventually show up at the end, but apparently he was living in a modern apartment playing video games.
Yeah. Yeah. That's probably just one of the things where the writer's like, yeah, let's not really explain that. It's more funnier when it's just like weird, like princes and princesses in modern day sort of thing.
I would have to agree with that. It's most certainly funnier than when Enchanted tried it.
Yeah.
I don't particularly care about Enchanted.
Yeah,
It's
I
one
haven't
of
really
the,
seen the full thing. It was just like, yeah, I don't really want.
Oh, it's one of those self-aware Disney films that actually wants you to know at all costs that it's being self-aware, to the
Yeah.
point that it's really annoying.
Yeah. That's sort of
So
what this episode sort of has, like a more self-aware sort of attitude, like with princess, like with the princess. She knows she wants to be a damsel in distress and all that, and that's why she's throwing herself in volcanoes, trying to jump off a bridge and all
which
that
is
sort
a
of stuff.
very dangerous behavior that
Yeah,
she actually manages to get over.
yeah,
But more on that later, actually. Because I'd say the moral and the message that's delivered in a very clear, uncontroversial, unmistakable way at the end really puts the entire episode into perspective. It's one of the few examples in which, feminism is actually portrayed in a proper way,
yeah,
which it's often not the case. Because the general stereotypical idea of feminism is that, to a general public, women wanting to do what men do, which is not entirely true.
yeah,
And from the so-called meninists, women are going to take over the world and kill all men. We must stop them.
yeah.
Those
But
guys.
both sides are not very clear on what the
No.
actual problems are.
Now, feminism has unfortunately a problem with social public relations. And unfortunately, it's mostly because of people that are openly hating on the very concept of feminism. And honestly, Tumblr does not help in that regard.
No, it doesn't. It just tries to push it and it just sort of takes it to the point where feminism is more about being a special snowflake rather than just trying to be equal.
Yes, and yes, and that's the whole point. Feminism means that you, woman, you are able, you have the freedom to be and to do whatever you want to be and to do. Basically, you are who you are, and nobody can take that away from you. With that said, there has to be a balance, and that balance being not trying to throw yourself inside a volcano in order to be saved.
Yeah,
I mean, that should go without saying.
yeah. It's sort of in this sort of situation, like the Powerpuff Girls are more kind of like acting as like the general populace, saying, like, no, girl, you can't just be jumping into volcanoes and all that. You gotta not be a damsel in distress. You gotta be like tough. You gotta punch stuff.
Well,
And
that's
that,
Buttercup in particular. Bubbles was completely into the whole princess thing because she likes to sing,
yeah,
she likes to wear dresses, and oh boy, do they sing! Do
yeah,
they all sing?
yeah. And they all sing raps.
Okay, that was one moment. And which brings me to the most disturbing scene in the entire cartoon. Yes, even more disturbing than the stolen kiss to Buttercup. That is Bubbles wearing makeup, posing like a street prostitute atop the car, which was in that brief moment in the rap scene, which was what?
That was weird. We have full-grown women kissing little girls, and now that.
Yes.
That is
Well,
some adult jokes being woven in there.
I don't know if they are adult jokes,
But
but
I'm
they.
I'm more saying adult as in like like taken into the context of the real world. If you saw a grown woman kissing a little girl, pedo.
Well, the center stage of the episode is taken by this very hilarious montage of the princess trying multiple times to commit suicide, aka being saved by the prince that's never coming. And we get to really, really funny moments. For example, when she tries to literally buy a poisonous apple from from an old witch, and she tries to eat it, and Buttercup says nope,
Like,
and slaps
nope.
the apple down, and she takes another one and tries again, nope, slaps the apple down, and so on and so forth. And it's
Yeah.
really, really funny.
Yeah, that was one of the funniest jokes. Then and them on top of the building with her just screaming out, it's like, oh, okay, I do not want to be saved. And then the Powerpuff Girls are taken away by the dragon, and
Yeah,
it's sort of stunning to me. They have super strength and all that, but it seems
yeah.
like the girls get captured all the time in the series.
Yes, that's weird. It seems like the writers don't quite know how to handle the powers of these girls in the context of the plot they want to tell. And to be fair, even the original show occasionally had that problem. But in this one, it's amplified tenfold.
Yeah, because they're using their powers and all that, but they're just having them like easily stopped. Like you see in the beginning of the episode, they were able to kick the
Yes.
dragon
Why
butt so
isn't
easily.
why isn't Blossom using her freezing ray, freezing breath on the dragon the second time? I was just waiting for that to happen. And no, instead she says, "Oh, don't worry, guys. Bluebell will save us." Where does that come from?
Yeah, I was hoping for Buttercup to say, "Are you crazy?
Oh,
Like, are
but
you serious?" or something like
okay,
that.
but this,
Something of the.
yeah,
Why would they trust in her to do it after they saw her multiple times trying to jump inside a volcano?
yes. Well, to be fair, that's exactly what happens. So this is the moment in which Bluebell just snaps and decides, "Okay, that's it. Oh, there's the dragon not kidnap me. I'm going to go there and kick his dragon behind for not daring to respect my princess authority."
Yeah,
Like a boss.
yeah,
Okay, I love... Okay, speaking of details, have you noticed that she loses the same crystal shoe about 3 times in
yeah.
the course of this episode?
Yeah, where is she getting all these glass slippers?
At some point, she rips her gown, leaving the undergarments on when
Yeah.
she got serious. But then she, later on, she rips off her undergarments, revealing a gown
Yeah,
beneath it. That's genius.
yeah. She can just keep on doing that.
Bluebell so far is the best character in this show,
Yeah.
no questions asked. And you know how she's only able to deliver exposition in the form of singing?
Yeah.
And Buttercup says to her, "Don't sing it, just tell it to us." And she, in order to actually properly communicate that to them, has to mentally
Yeah, mentally go
check.
through the song.
mentally go through the lyrics of the song. Okay, so this. Okay, I need to be saved by a prince or something.
Yeah, I think that was one of the more brilliant like bits of writing because it more goes with the
Yeah.
character and all that, and it actually comes off as like very clever exposition.
Yes. Yes, Bluebell is great. Again, she steals the show, and we're kind of hoping she would literally steal the show from them and be all about her crazy princessy adventures.
Yeah, yeah, or just take some of the comedy from her and just inject into the other 3 girls so they can actually
Yeah.
be funny.
I mean, it seems to me that the writers of the show have a pretty solid grasp of what feminism is, and most of the writers are actually women, unlike what the whole topic of gender roles, of transgenderism that was so botched. And actually, they had the freedom to properly write a story that communicates about feminism, but also in a more broader sense tells you about, the classic moral of just be yourself because you can be whoever you want to be. Which, again, it's part of what feminism is supposed to be all about, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the freedom to be who you want to be. Which brings us to the very, very happy conclusion to this whole debacle.
Yeah, we had the princess having the prince come in. It's like, I'm
Finally.
here to get you. I'm here to
Yes.
get you. It's like, where were you?
Traffic, playing video games.
Yeah, that was a funny joke.
But
And
I
so
really,
the princess-
I like yours. I really like yours. Yeah, yours
Yeah.
says. Fantastic.
yeah. So the princess just basically boots the prince and also tells off the girls as well. And actually, it's like one of the most like biggest truth bombs in this entire episode. Like the girls themselves were also being bad, but just trying to make her into something that she really didn't want to be. She wanted to be the damsel and all that, to be saved and all that. That's who she was, even though she was doing it in a stupid way, jumping off
Yes.
and getting poison apples. But it's still the truth that she wanted to be that, and the girls were just kind of disrespecting her, saying it's like, nah, you don't want to do that. You want to be able to punch stuff. You gotta be your own person when she is being her own person.
I'll give credit where credit is due. This episode did a fantastic job with the moral, because it would have been so easy to have the princess just do a 180 and become some butch super gal Xena warrior princess type like Buttercup wanted her to be. Instead, she chose ultimately to be herself, except less inclined in, committing suicide for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So, yes, kids, yes, girls, you can be both an independent woman and wear frilly dresses and sing and write musicals and what have you. You can be who you want to be. You shouldn't have to answer to what society, male-dominated society, expects you to be.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this is great. And I like the fact the message was communicated in a clear, unambiguous way at the end, which actually fits with the mostly light and comedic tone of the episode. Yeah, so this episode actually not only manages to properly communicate a theme complex such as feminism to a younger audience, but it still manages to do so in a comic and funny way.
Yeah,
Which
exactly.
again, Horn Sweet Horn failed to do. Because honestly, that topic, I don't think could have been communicated properly in a mostly comedic manner.
Yeah, in 11 minutes, it's very hard. So it makes it just even more impressive that they were able to do it in this episode. So yeah. Like this probably will make me more of a fan and like want to watch more episodes of Powerpuff Girls just to see if they ever get this creative again with any of their other morals. Probably not though.
Yeah, on the topic of Horn Sweet Horn, the problem itself is not that it's comedic, it's that the comedy was placed in the wrong places. You shouldn't make fun of the characters, or, you shouldn't make fun of specific types of people, but you should make fun of tropes
Yeah.
attached to people, like they did in this episode, and they did it so well. Because at the end of the day, the princess was in the right, and she was not in the wrong for being who she was. But with that said, we can still have fun at her expenses, and we can still have fun at the classic tropes associated with fairy tale princesses. Just as long as you keep in mind the very important lesson that, at the end of the day, Princess Bluebell just likes to be a princess. And that's fine with me.
Yeah, that's fine with me too. I might actually rewatch that episode. It was so good now.
Instead, I'm going to watch wrestling. Okay, so
We were talking about
complete.
frilly dresses and all that, and now you're going to wrestling. What
Oh
about
man!
feminism? What about
Oh,
feminism?
There's no place for feminism in a wrestling ring. I am the ultimate wrestling watcher. I am going to watch for wrestling, and I'm going to end this podcast now because I'm the ultimate warrior. I'm sorry, I haven't done that in a while. Complete non sequitur, but light-hearted ending. So, thank you for joining us, everybody. This has been our opinionated discussion of Once Upon a Townsville. I was about to say Tumblersville.
It might as well be named that.
And we'll see you next time. Oh, and by the way, a few of our podcasts are currently going to go up on Wild Boy's YouTube channel too. Yes, correct. That's him. For a bigger diffusion. And that's because he has more subscribers than I do. And he's also part of the Federator network. I've seen your Scooby-Doo video for that channel. That
No,
great,
thank you.
nice stuff. Nice stuff.
Yeah, I'll
Yes,
probably do better next time.
I do not share your enthusiasm for Scooby-Doo related media, but you know what? We could actually do a podcast about the newest Scooby-Doo show because I kind of like that.
That would be cool, Scooby-Doo. Yeah,
Yeah,
I could do that
I
too.
mean, it has the worst title any Scooby-Doo show has ever had, but I
Yeah,
believe that's part of the self-aware joke.
yeah, yeah. It's
So
definitely the
maybe
most one of the self-aware Scooby-Doos out there.
yes, but not to the point that it becomes Family Guy. It's
Yeah,
more something on the level of we are aware of the silliness, but we embrace it, and we still manage to create a pretty solid ensemble comedy with it. But that's an argument for another podcast altogether. For now,
yeah,
we shall separate from you and again end this podcast. So see you next
okay.
time. Hashtag make PPG great again.
Hashtag forever. Oh God.
It's not creepy.